Hello and welcome back, guys. Today we have an amazing and super useful lesson, which is the most useful English words in daily life and academic purposes. For each word, I have brought examples from movie, like this. The word magnify.
Magnify.
Elevate.
Elevate me.
Untidy.
I'm untidy.
Before starting, to support me, click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. The first word is prompt. Prompt. Prompt is a word that means to make something happen quickly. For example, the teacher prompted the students to begin their work. The alarm clock prompted me to wake up early.
Very prompt. Very prompt.
Very, very important. Pay your supplier prompt.
And what would prompt such an act of charity?
Hasty. Hasty. Hasty means to do something too soon, without careful thinking. For example, she made a hasty decision and regretted it later. He was in hasty rush to finish his homework.
Don't be hasty.
Don't be hasty.
Well, let's not be hasty.
Scorch. Scorch. Scorch is a verb that means to burn or damage something with heat. For example, the sun scorched my skin during the summer. The chef accidentally scorched the pancakes on the stove.
We'll scorch the earth. We will astonish them all.
Tomorrow we scorch the surface.
Do you scorch, slow roast, or please say no, leave it uncooked?
Tempest. Tempest. Tempest is a noun that means a violent storm with strong winds and rain. For example, the tempest caused damage to the town. The sailors braved the tempest on their journey.
You know very well my organization is entering a tempest.
Roll. The Tempest.
Oh, then began the tempest to my soul.
Here I want to say I make a lot of efforts on these videos. So to support me, click the like button. Thank you for your like, my friends. Soothe. Soothe. Soothe is a verb that means to calm or comfort someone who is upset or in pain. For example, the mother soothed her crying baby. The music soothed my nerves.
Played music to soothe their minds.
Yes, I played music. I wanted to soothe you.
Perhaps this will soothe you.
Sympathetic. Sympathetic. Sympathetic is an adjective that describes feeling sorry for someone and wanting to help them. For example, the sympathetic nurse comforted the sick patient. I felt sympathetic towards my friend who lost their pet.
Blacks are more sympathetic to the blacks. Blacks are more sympathetic to the blacks.
Something sympathetic, something human.
I've had some sympathetic juries.
Redeem. Redeem. Redeem is a verb that means to make something good again after it has been damaged or lost value. For example, he tried to redeem himself after making a mistake. The store offered a coupon to redeem for a discount.
I beg you, bold king, to permit me to redeem my father's name by serving you in combat.
Here you may redeem yourself and, God willing, save yourself from eternal damnation.
The only thing that will redeem mankind is cooperation.
Resume. Resume. Resume is a verb that means to start again after stopping for a period of time. For example, after the break we will resume our class. He resumed his job search after taking a break.
You may resume your duties and begin training as a combat medic.
Resume the countdown.
We'll resume play in 1 hour.
Harmony. Harmony. Harmony is a noun that means when people live or work together without fighting or disagreeing with each other. For example, they have lived together in reasonable harmony for many years. The family lived in harmony with their neighbors.
It goes with the harmony.
He called the English the disturbers of our harmony.
It's a perfect harmony.
Refrain. Refrain. Refrain is a verb that means to stop oneself from doing something. For example, she refrained from eating junk food to stay healthy. He refrained from speaking out of turn in the meeting.
If you can refrain from doing any of that, it's yours.
Please refrain from urinating in the freezer aisle.
Kindly refrain from sitting on my sister's bed. Kindly refrain from sitting on my sister's bed.
Illegal. Illegal. Illegal is an adjective that describes something that is against the law. For example, it is illegal to drive without a license. Selling drugs is an illegal activity.
It's only illegal to buy sexual services.
Because it's illegal, that's why not. Because it's illegal, that's why not.
There's over 2 million illegal immigrants bedding down in this state tonight.
Narcotic. Narcotic. Narcotic is a noun that means a type of drug which makes you sleep and reduces pain. For example, the doctor prescribed a narcotic for the patient's pain. Abusing narcotic drugs can lead to addiction.
No pardon, narcotic offender.
All that narcotic in that little backpack. All that narcotic in that little backpack.
No. He lives only for that narcotic moment of creative bliss.
Epidemic. Epidemic. When a disease spreads quickly and affects a large number of people in a specific area or population. For example, in the school, there was an epidemic of the flu and many students got sick. The COVID-19 virus caused a global epidemic.
This is a national emergency. This is an epidemic. This is a national emergency. This is an epidemic.
The Times is calling it a potential epidemic.
What began locally has now broken out into a global epidemic. What began locally has now broken out into a global epidemic.
Obesity. Obesity. Obesity is a medical condition in which a person has an excessive amount of body fat, which can lead to health problems. For example, John's doctor told him he needs to lose weight because his obesity is putting him at risk for heart disease. I want to give a lecture on dangers of obesity.
Short-term treatment of obesity. Short-term treatment of obesity.
If we had to deal with morbid obesity and panic attacks, if we had to deal with morbid obesity and panic attacks.
Magnify. Magnify. To magnify means to make something appear larger or more important than it actually is. For example, Sarah used a magnifying glass to magnify the small text in the book and make it easier to read. The media often magnifies minor issues and blows them out of proportion.
Sometimes, small things can magnify themselves into big things. Sometimes, small things can magnify themselves into big things.
The hull, magnify.
Yes, sir.
The hull, magnify.
Yes, sir.
Chiropractor. Chiropractor. A person who treats physical problems related to bones and joints. For example, Jane visited a chiropractor to get relief from her back pain. After a car accident, Tom went to a chiropractor to treat his whiplash injury.
Call my chiropractor. Call my chiropractor.
I'm a chiropractor. She's an orthopedic surgeon. I'm a chiropractor. She's an orthopedic surgeon.
Obstacle. Obstacle. Something that makes it difficult to achieve something. It can be a physical object, a difficult situation, or a problem. For example, the fallen tree on the road was a big obstacle for the cars trying to pass through. Fear of change is an obstacle to progress.
There is an obstacle. There is an obstacle.
Her natural speech was a great obstacle to get over.
He's much more of an obstacle than you think. He's much more of an obstacle than you think.
Ventilate. Ventilate. Ventilate means to let fresh air into a room. For example, it is important to open the windows and ventilate the room. The gymnasium has large fans to help ventilate the space and keep it cool during workouts. Jeopardize. Jeopardize. Jeopardize means to put something or someone at risk or in danger of harm, lose, or failure. For example, texting while driving can jeopardize your safety and the safety of others on the road. The company's decision to cut corners on quality control could jeopardize its reputation.
I'm gonna ventilate your little cranium. I'm gonna ventilate your little cranium.
It's clean. I had to ventilate someone.
Did they ventilate her? She didn't want that. Did they ventilate her? She didn't want that.
Negative. Negative. Negative can have different meanings, but it often refers to something that is not positive or favorable. For example, Jack's drinking is starting to have a negative effect on his work. He gave a negative answer without an explanation.
Negative. Do not pull back. Negative. Do not pull back.
Negative.
Negative. Galitzin is on the move. Negative. Galitzin is on the move.
Pension. Pension. A pension is a regular payment made to a person, typically after retirement, as a form of income. It is often provided by the government or an employer as a retirement benefit. For example, after working for 30 years, John started receiving his monthly pension from the company he used to work for. If you are self-employed, you should think about taking out a private pension.
That's immediate retirement, no pension.
Take your pension. Take your pension.
Pension? Pension?
Vital. Vital. Vital means extremely important and necessary for something to succeed or exist. For example, water is vital for our survival, as our bodies need it to stay hydrated. Good communication skills are vital for our building strong relationships with others.
Hi, I'm Maddie Bowen with Vital Affairs Magazine. Hi, I'm Maddie Bowen with Vital Affairs Magazine.
That's vital. That's the most important thing. That's vital. That's the most important thing.
Municipal. Municipal. Municipal refers to something related to a city or local government. It can describe services, facilities, or policies provided by the local authorities. For example, the municipal government is responsible for maintaining the parks, streets, and public transportation in the city. The city council passed a new municipal law to regulate noise levels in the residential areas.
A handful of municipal soldiers is hardly a show of force. A handful of municipal soldiers is hardly a show of force.
Municipal offender data system. Municipal offender data system.
Oral. Oral. Oral refers to something related to the mouth or spoken communication. It can describe exams, traditions, or medications. For example, the students had to give an oral presentation in front of the class to demonstrate their understanding of the topic. The statement may be given orally or in writing.
I wasn't going to mention oral.
Okay.
I wasn't going to mention oral.
Okay.
Hastings has his oral history, I'd start there. Hastings has his oral history, I'd start there.
Oh, wait, oral. I like anal.
Yay!
Oh, wait, oral. I like anal.
Yay!
Volunteer. Volunteer.
I volunteer. I volunteer.
Volunteer means a person who does a job without being asked or paid. For example, she volunteered at the school to train the students how to clean their environments. Jack volunteered to help his neighbor with yard work.
I volunteer. I volunteer.
Prejudice. Prejudice. Prejudice means an unfair feeling of dislike or hatred for a person or group based on their race, religion, or other characteristics.
Without prejudice. Without prejudice.
For example, some people have prejudice against those who speak a different language than they do. My own school days prejudiced me against all formal education.
Without prejudice. Without prejudice.
Shrill. Shrill. A shrill sound is very high and unpleasant.
Your voice is shrill. Goodbye. Your voice is shrill. Goodbye.
For example, the shrill sound of the fire alarm woke everyone up. She shrilled with excitement when she saw her favorite celebrity.
Your voice is shrill. Goodbye. Your voice is shrill. Goodbye.
Jolly. Jolly. Jolly means cheerful and happy.
For two people in love, to marry strikes me as very jolly. For two people in love, to marry strikes me as very jolly.
For example, the jolly man dressed up as Santa Claus for the children's party. She jollied her friend up with a funny story.
For two people in love, to marry strikes me as very jolly.
Witty. Witty. Witty means able to think quickly and make clever remarks.
You're so witty. You're so witty.
For example, the comedian's witty jokes had the audience laughing all night. She made a witty comment about the weather.
You're so witty. You're so witty.
Hinder. Hinder. Hinder means to delay or to make it difficult for someone to do something or for something to happen.
I will hinder and harm your creature on earth as far as I am able. I will hinder and harm your creature on earth as far as I am able.
For example, the bad weather hindered their travel plans. His lack of experience hindered his ability to complete the project.
I will hinder and harm your creature on earth as far as I am able.
Lecture. Lecture. Lecture means a talk given to a group of people to teach them about a particular subject.
I think I once gave a lecture at the University of Missouri. I think I once gave a lecture at the University of Missouri.
For example, the professor gave a lecture on the history of art. My sister lectured her children about the importance of studying.
I think I once gave a lecture at the University of Missouri.
Abuse. Abuse. Abuse means the use of something in a way that it should not be used.
All of the defendants claim that they were subjected to physical and mental abuse while under police custody. All of the defendants claim that they were subjected to physical and mental abuse while under police custody.
For example, domestic abuse is a serious problem in many households. The president was accused of abusing his power as a president.
All of the defendants claim that they were subjected to physical and mental abuse while under police custody.
Mumble. Mumble. Mumble means to speak quietly and unclearly.
Does he always mumble like that? Does he always mumble like that?
For example, the shy student mumbled her answer to the teacher's question. Jack mumbled an apology for being late.
Does he always mumble like that? Does he always mumble like that?
Mute. Mute. Mute means unable to speak, silent, or to make something silent.
He's mute. He's mute.
An incredibly big mute. An incredibly big mute. He gave me that longing. And then made me mute. Why?
For example, the mute boy communicated using sign language. She muted the TV so she could concentrate on her work.
An incredibly big mute. An incredibly big mute. He gave me that longing. And then made me mute. Why?
What? What? What means a small thick bundle of paper, money, or other material.
A big, sweaty wad of money. A big, sweaty wad of money.
For example, Max pulled out a wad of cash from his pocket to pay for the mail. She wadded up the paper and threw it in the trash.
A big, sweaty wad of money.
Retain. Retain. Retain means to keep or continue to have something, or to remember something.
You will retain your present rank, of course. You will retain your present rank, of course.
For example, the company wants to retain its top employees. She tried to retain all the information she learned in class.
You will retain your present rank, of course. You will retain your present rank, of course.
Candidate. Candidate. Candidate is a noun and it means a person who applies for a job or is nominated for an election. For example,
welcome to the astronaut candidate program. Welcome to the astronaut candidate program.
John is a candidate for the position of class president. I want to apply as a candidate for the position of manager.
The NWP does not put forth a candidate for election. The NWP does not put forth a candidate for election.
Proceed. Proceed. Proceed is a verb and it means to happen or exist before something or someone. For example,
you proceed yourself. You proceed yourself.
The letter A precedes the letter B in the English alphabet. The introduction will precede the start of the presentation.
I had Ripple precede me to chart the route. I had Ripple precede me to chart the route.
Adolescent. Adolescent. Adolescent can be used as a noun or adjective, and it means a young person who is in the stage between childhood and adulthood. For example,
I look at capitalism as an adolescent stage in the growth of civilization. I look at capitalism as an adolescent stage in the growth of civilization.
Adolescents often experience various physical and emotional changes during puberty. The adolescent years can be challenging for both parents and children.
Carpentry and adolescent psychology, two things I know nothing about. Carpentry and adolescent psychology, two things I know nothing about.
Coeducational. Coeducational. The word coeducational is adjective and it means involving or providing education for both boys and girls together. For example,
she's never been in a coeducational atmosphere before. She's never been in a coeducational atmosphere before.
The school is a coeducational institution allowing both male and female students to study together. Our school is coeducational and has both boys and girls in the same classes.
She's never been in a coeducational atmosphere before.
Radical. Radical. Radical can be used as an adjective or noun, and radical ideas are very new and different and are against what most people think or believe. Also, a radical change or difference is very big and important. For example,
I have a radical solution. I have a radical solution.
Our president has radical ideas about how to solve the problem. She is a political radical who wants to change the system.
You should make a radical change in your lifestyle. You should make a radical change in your lifestyle.
Spontaneous. Spontaneous. The word spontaneous is adjective. Something that is spontaneous has not been planned or organized, but happens by itself or because you suddenly feel you want to do it. For example, the
spontaneous event. Spontaneous event.
Was it spontaneous? Was it calculated? Was it spontaneous? Was it calculated?
Somebody help me! I'm being spontaneous! Somebody help me! I'm being spontaneous!
The couple had a spontaneous picnic in the park. Her spontaneous decision to travel to Europe surprised everyone.
Was it spontaneous? Was it calculated?
Somebody help me! I'm being spontaneous!
Spontaneous event.
Skim. Skim. Skim is a verb and it means to read something quickly to find the main facts or ideas in it, or to remove a substance from the surface of a liquid. For example,
there are 100 different ways to skim off the top. There are 100 different ways to skim off the top.
At the end of this, we'll teach you how to skim and how to cut it up and make some money on the side, because we invented skimming. At the end of this, we'll teach you how to skim and how to cut it up and make some money on the side, because we invented skimming.
She skimmed through the book to find the answer. He skimmed the cream off the top of the milk.
At the end of this, we'll teach you how to skim and how to cut it up and make some money on the side, because we invented skimming.
Vaccinate. Vaccinate. Vaccinate is a verb and it means to protect a person or animal from a disease by giving them a vaccine. For example,
It's not that important to vaccinate kids, is it? It's not that important to vaccinate kids, is it?
Did you vaccinate the dogs for parvo? Did you vaccinate the dogs for parvo?
the doctor will vaccinate the child against measles. She needs to vaccinate her dog against rabies.
Did you vaccinate the dogs for parvo?
It's not that important to vaccinate kids, is it?
Untidy. Untidy. Untidy is adjective and it means messy, disordered, or not organized. For example,
very untidy, very untidy.
Well, I'm untidy. Well, I'm untidy.
Bachelors are supposed to be untidy, aren't they? Bachelors are supposed to be untidy, aren't they?
my room is untidy and needs cleaning. The kitchen was untidy after the party.
Bachelors are supposed to be untidy, aren't they?
Well, I'm untidy.
Very untidy.
Utensil. Utensil. Utensil is a noun and it means a tool or container used for cooking or eating food. For example,
give me my eating utensil back.
A bendy straw, your favorite sipping utensil. A bendy straw, your favorite sipping utensil.
It's a writing utensil. It's a writing utensil.
the chef used a variety of utensils such as knives, pans, and spoons to prepare the meal. My mother washed the utensils after dinner.
It's a writing utensil.
Give me my eating utensil back.
Sensitive. Sensitive. Sensitive is adjective and it means easily affected by external factors or having a strong emotional reaction to something. For example,
whatever it was, it's very sensitive.
I don't get it. You seem to be sensitive.
she is sensitive to bright lights and wears sunglasses outside. Children are very sensitive and gets upset easily by criticism or harsh words.
Whatever it was, it's very sensitive.
I don't get it. You seem to be sensitive.
Temperate. Temperate. Temperate is adjective and it means mild or moderate, especially in terms of weather or climate. For example,
be temperate. Be temperate.
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? No man!
the temperate climate in that region allows for growth of a wide variety of plants. Sarah enjoys the temperate weather in spring when it's not too hot or too cold.
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? No man!
Be temperate. Be temperate.
Vague. Vague. Vague is an adjective and it means uncertain or unclear. For example,
it's not some vague thing with you like it is with others.
Not to be vague, that is the price.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
the instructions I received were vague, so I had trouble understanding what to do. The governor gave only a vague outline of his tax plan.
It's not some vague thing with you like it is with others.
Not to be vague, that is the price.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Elevate. Elevate. Elevate is a verb and it means to move someone or something to a more important level or make them better than before. For example,
Elevate me.
Art should elevate, not pander.
You put them next to each other, right? And they start to elevate each other. And then you can hear it.
language has elevated humans above the other animals. Regular exercise can elevate your mood and improve your overall well-being.
Elevate me. Elevate me.
Art should elevate, not pander.
Lottery. Lottery. The word lottery is a noun and it means a game of chance in which participants can win a prize, typically by purchasing a ticket with a random number combination. For example,
I I won the Pennsylvania lottery in the morning.
I wasn't part of a lottery. I was selected.
I mean, you're sitting on a winning lottery ticket.
John bought a lottery ticket hoping to win the jackpot and fulfill his dreams. Do you really think winning the lottery would make you happy?
I won the Pennsylvania lottery in the morning.
I wasn't part of a lottery. I was selected.
I mean, you're sitting on a winning lottery ticket.
Finance. Finance. Finance can be used as a noun and verb, and it means the management of money or to provide funds for a specific purpose. For example,
You worked in finance.
If it works again tomorrow, I'll finance the whole thing.
Little jokes they're making down at finance these days.
Sarah studied finance in college and now works as a financial advisor. The bank agreed to finance Mark's new business venture.
You worked in finance.
If it works again tomorrow, I'll finance the whole thing.
Little jokes they're making down at finance these days.
Obtain. Obtain. Obtain is a verb and it means to achieve or to get something that you want. For example,
You must obtain a title.
Perhaps we can obtain another.
The ports are blockaded, and fresh shipments of the herring become more difficult to obtain.
further information can be obtained from head office. Lisa obtained her driver's lessons after passing the written and practical exams.
You must obtain a title.
Perhaps we can obtain another.
The ports are blockaded, and fresh shipments of the herring become more difficult to obtain.
Cinema. Cinema. Cinema is a noun and it means a place where films are shown on a large screen. For example,
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
Beautiful, beautiful cinema.
She means in the cinema. She means in the cinema.
let's go to the cinema tonight and watch the latest action movie. How often do you go to the cinema?
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
Beautiful, beautiful cinema.
She means in the cinema. She means in the cinema.
Event. Event. Event is a noun and it means something that happens, especially something important, interesting, or unusual. For example,
I won an event the other night. I won an event the other night. He always told me how much he loved coming to this event.
That's right. This is going to be the greatest sporting event in the country's history. That's right. This is going to be the greatest sporting event in the country's history.
the wedding was a grand event with hundreds of guests. Celebrating of New Year's is one of the most important events.
I won an event the other night. He always told me how much he loved coming to this event.
That's right. This is going to be the greatest sporting event in the country's history.
Discord. Discord. Discord is a verb and it means to get rid of something or throw away. For example,
I discard the razor blade. I discard the razor blade.
You're a discard, you know it. You're a discard, you know it.
please discard the empty bottles in the recycling bin. These ideas have now been completely discarded.
I discard the razor blade.
You're a discard, you know it.
Soar. Soar. Soar is a verb and it means to fly or raise high in the air with a little effort, often with a feeling of freedom or exhilaration. For example,
they will soar on wings like eagles.
Defy gravity, just soar.
Your career will soar.
the eagle spread its wings and soared gracefully across the sky. The price of petrol has soared in recent weeks.
They will soar on wings like eagles.
Defy gravity, just soar.
Your career will soar.
Subsequent. Subsequent. Subsequent is adjective and it means coming after or following something in time or order. For example,
Subsequent developments confirm this opinion. Subsequent developments confirm this opinion.
Uninspired description of movie and subsequent conversation with girlfriend. Uninspired description of movie and subsequent conversation with girlfriend.
the team won the first game but lost all subsequent matches in the tournament. After the storm, the city faced subsequent challenges such as power outage and damaged infrastructure.
Subsequent developments confirm this opinion.
Uninspired description of movie and subsequent conversation with girlfriend.
Relate. Relate. Relate is a verb and it means to make a connection or association between two or more things. For example,
relate in the book the story of Mary.
Can anybody else relate to that?
I relate primarily to micas, quartz, feldspar.
the professor used real-life examples to help his students relate the theoretical concepts to practical situations. Sarah could relate to John's struggles because she had experienced something similar in the past.
Relate in the book the story of Mary.
Can anybody else relate to that?
I relate primarily to micas, quartz, feldspar.
Stationary. Stationary. Stationary is adjective and it means not moving or not intended to be moved.
Will the gentleman be moving?
Stationary.
I choose to write on hotel stationery.
The car was stationary at the traffic light, waiting for the signal to turn green. The librarian asked the students to keep the books on the stationery shelf and not move them around.
I choose to write on hotel stationery.
Will the gentleman be moving?
Stationary.
Heir. Heir.
And heir to the throne of Gondor.
Heir is a noun and it means the person who has the legal right to receive the property or title of another person when they die. For example, the prince was the heir to the throne and would become king one day. After his father passed away, he became the sole heir to the family business.
And heir to the throne of Gondor. And heir to the throne of Gondor.
We hope Manchukuo will have an heir. We hope Manchukuo will have an heir.
To live in terror every moment of every day because your son is heir to the throne.
Majestic. Majestic. Majestic is adjective and it means having or showing impressive beauty or dignity. For example, the majestic eagle soared high in the sky, its wings spread wide. The Taj Mahal is a majestic monument that attracts tourists from all over the world.
The eagle is a majestic bird. The eagle is a majestic bird.
Be a lot more majestic if we could see it. Be a lot more majestic if we could see it.
I think it is called the majestic.
Dwindle. Dwindle. Dwindle is a verb and it means to become gradually smaller in amount or importance. For example, the water in the lake began to dwindle during the summer months due to lack of rainfall. The popularity of the singer dwindled after his last album received negative reviews.
Circulation continues to dwindle. Circulation continues to dwindle.
Surplus. Surplus. Surplus is a noun and it means extra or an amount of something that is more than what is needed or used. For example, the farmer had a surplus of vegetables after a good harvest and decided to sell them at the market. The company had a surplus of funds and decided to invest in a new project.
If he's going to die, then he'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
If they'd rather die, then they'd better do it and decrease the surplus population.
Guys, if this video is helpful for you, please click the like button. Thank you so much. Traitor. Traitor. Traitor is a noun and it means betrayer or someone who is not loyal to their country, friends or beliefs. For example, the soldier was accused of being a traitor after he leaked confidential information to the enemy. He turned traitor and joined the opposition.
They called you a traitor.
You know what makes him a traitor? You know what makes him a traitor?
He is a traitor, my lord. Traitors die.
Deliberate. Deliberate. Deliberate is adjective and it means planned or calculated. For example, she made a deliberate choice to wear her favorite dress to the party. The teacher asked the students to deliberate on the topic before giving their opinions.
It's a deliberate mutilation of a public service message.
Not deliberate, not random. Not deliberate, not random.
Vandal. Vandal. Vandal is a noun and it means a person who deliberately destroys or damages public or private property. For example, the car vandals caused more than 10,000 worth of damage to vehicles last Saturday. The park was closed temporarily due to vandalism caused by a group of teenagers.
I'm not a vandal. Or a spy. I'm not a vandal. Or a spy.
I thought you were a vandal. I thought you were a vandal. I used to be a vandal. I used to be a vandal.
Drought. Drought. Drought is a noun and it means dryness or a long period of dry weather when there is not enough water for plants and animals to live. For example, large areas of Africa are affected by severe drought. Last year has been the worst drought in the country's history.
The drought has just begun. The drought has just begun.
Pray that the grain you brought back will outlast the drought. Pray that the grain you brought back will outlast the drought.
Abide. Abide. Abide is a verb and it means to accept and obey a decision, rule, agreement, etc., even though you may not agree with it. For example, you have to abide by the referee's decision. The company had to abide by the government regulations.
I know it's going to be hard for you to abide by my rules. I know it's going to be hard for you to abide by my rules.
We must abide by his law if we wish to remain free. We must abide by his law if we wish to remain free.
Unify. Unify. Unify is a verb and it means to bring together or combine into a single unit. For example, the coach's aim was to unify the team and work towards a common goal. The treaty was signed to unify the two countries and promote peace and cooperation.
If we attack their ships, we will unify them. If we attack their ships, we will unify them.
Help the sciences unify string theories. Help the sciences unify string theories.
Summit. Summit. Summit is a noun and it means the highest point or peak of a mountain or hill. A meeting between heads of a state or other high-level officials. For example, the climbers reached the summit of Mount Everest after a grueling climb. The leaders of G7 countries met at the summit to discuss global issues and policies.
And I went up to the summit to hang myself. And I went up to the summit to hang myself.
Back to the summit. Back to the summit.
Heed. Heed. Heed is a verb and it means to pay attention to someone's advice or warning. For example, the hiker heeded the warning signs and avoided the dangerous trail. Tom paid no heed to the doctor's warning and now he is sick.
That's why you should heed me. That's why you should heed me.
Take heed, magicians. Take heed, magicians.
Take heed. Come. Take heed. Come.
Biography. Biography. Biography is a written account of someone's life, usually published in a book or article. For example, the biography of Mahatma Gandhi tells the story of his life and his fight for India's independence. I'm reading a biography of Albert Einstein to learn more about his scientific discoveries.
The biography of the Watermelon Woman.
The great American biography, A Journey into the Heart of the Beast.
Drench. Drench. To soak or wet. Used about a person or area after a lot of rain or water has fallen on them. For example, the rain drenched us as we walked home from the park. I accidentally spilled water on my shirt and it drenched my entire front.
You'll be very sorry because I'll drench you. You'll be very sorry because I'll drench you.
Cromwell's ghost has come again to drench Ireland in blood.
Swarm. Swarm. A large group of insects or other small creatures. A large number of people or things moving together. To move in a large group. For example, a swarm of bees flew into the garden and started buzzing around the flowers. The fans swarmed the concert venue to get a glimpse of their favorite singer.
Surrounded by a swarm of...
Like a swarm of locusts.
These hills swarm with our scouts.
Wobble. Wobble. To be uncertain or unstable. To move unsteadily from side to side. For example, the table leg was loose and caused the vase to wobble and almost fall over. The child wobbled as he took his first steps, trying to maintain his balance.
You can still wobble, I see. This is a pretty big wobble.
I can see it wobble all right enough.
I think I saw it wobble a little bit too.
Tumult. Tumult. A confused, noisy, and excited situation often caused by a large crowd. For example, the stadium was filled with tumult as the home team scored the winning goal. The company was in a state of tumult after the principal resigned unexpectedly.
Much tumult in the other rooms. Much tumult in the other rooms.
I'm here because you are one tumult little puppet. I'm here because you are one tumult little puppet.
Kneel. Kneel. To rest on one's knee or knees. For example, the knight knelt before the queen to receive his honor. The gardener had to kneel down to plant the flowers in the soil.
Why must people kneel down to pray? Why must people kneel down to pray?
In the end, you will always kneel.
Dejected. Dejected. Sad and depressed. For example, the Ronaldo was dejected after losing the championship game. The student was dejected after failing the exam that she had studied so hard for.
The lowest and most dejected thing of fortune.
Dejected fellow won his day. Dejected fellow won his day.
Obedient. Obedient. Always doing what you are told to do, or what the law or rule says you must do. For example, the dog was obedient and followed his owner's commands without hesitation. The children were obedient and listened to their parents when they were told to go to bed.
We are obedient.
You're humble and obedient. You're obedient.
Recede. Recede. To move back or away from a previous position, or to become more distant. For example, the floodwaters began to recede after several days of heavy rain.
And any trouble we had here will recede away like a dream. And any trouble we had here will recede away like a dream.
If the water doesn't recede after the tsunami, I'll need air to surface.
Tyrant. Tyrant. Tyrant means dictator or someone who has power over other people and use it cruelly or unfairly. For example, the people revolted against the tyrant who had been ruling the country for decades. The boss was often referred to as a tyrant because of his strict rules and harsh treatment of employees.
The tyrant? The world will know that free men stood against a tyrant.
The king is a tyrant.
Charity. Charity. An organization set up to provide help and raise money for those in need. For example, the charity raised funds to provide food and shelter for the homeless in the city. She donated a portion of her salary to charity every month to help support the least fortunate.
Something about charity.
I don't want charity, and I don't want favors.
Are you involved with the charity?
Verdict. Verdict. An opinion or judgment about something. For example, the players anxiously awaited the verdict of the umpire. My verdict is that this restaurant serves the best pizza I have ever tasted.
If there is a reasonable doubt, you must bring me a verdict of not guilty.
Guilty, the verdict for all of them. Guilty, the verdict for all of them.
So what's the verdict? So what's the verdict?
Unearth. Unearth. Unearth means dig up, find out, or discover. For example, the digging of scientists unearthed a buried city. The gardener unearthed a worm while digging in the soil.
Yes, and we continue to unearth new material.
And what if they unearth the bow?
Depart. Depart. To leave or go away from a place. For example, the train will depart from the station at 6 p.m. She had to depart early from the party to catch her flight.
And depart when you bid me. And depart when you bid me.
How long for you to make ready to depart? How long for you to make ready to depart?
Coincide. Coincide. to happen at the same time or in the same place. For example, the concert coincided with my best friend's wedding, so I couldn't attend it. Because Jack's and Jim's working hours coincide and they live in the same vicinity.
Well, I'm sorry that my fugitive timetable doesn't coincide with your social calendar. Well, I'm sorry that my fugitive timetable doesn't coincide with your social calendar.
Did Tony's first appearance happen to coincide with your arrival here? Did Tony's first appearance happen to coincide with your arrival here?
Cancel. Cancel. To decide that an event will not take place, or to revoke something. For example, the flight was cancelled due to bad weather conditions. She had to cancel her dinner plans with friends because she got sick.
Cancel my appointments, please. Cancel my appointments, please.
Did you, cancel a card?
Debtor. Debtor. A person who owes something to another. For example, if I borrow $1 from you, I'm your debtor. Jack became a debtor when he took out a loan from the bank to buy a car.
I am your grateful debtor. Nobody can stand a debtor in Holland.
Legible. Legible. Legible means able to be read or easy to read. For example, her handwriting is so legible that everyone can read it easily. The price must be legible to a purchaser.
Legible, boy.
If this were at all legible, you'd see what I meant. If this were at all legible, you'd see what I meant.
Placard. Placard. Placard means poster or a large notice or sign usually displayed in a public place. For example, there is a placard above the door saying "Welcome to the park." The movie theater had a placard outside advertising the latest movie.
Just from a placard standpoint.
Cover your face with a placard. Cover your face with a placard.
Contagious. Contagious. Able to be spread from one person or thing to another. For example, the flu is a highly contagious disease that can spread quickly from person to person. Her laughter was contagious, and soon everyone in the room was laughing too.
Don't worry, it's not contagious. Don't worry, it's not contagious.
Emily, keep away. He's contagious. Emily, keep away. He's contagious.
Clergy. Clergy. Someone who is trained to perform religious duties. For example, the clergy presided over the wedding ceremony and blessed the couple. The bishop met with the clergy to discuss matters related to the church.
Take the benefit of clergy. Take the benefit of clergy.
No, it doesn't. Goldie worked the clergy. No, it doesn't. Goldie worked the clergy.
Customary. Customary. Something that is customary is normal or usual because it is the way something is usually done. For example, it is customary to give flowers to someone on their birthday as a sign of love. In some cultures, it is customary for guests to remove their shoes before entering someone's home.
It is customary to make a little speech on the first day. It is customary to make a little speech on the first day.
Of course she made the customary protest, but she is a lady. Of course she made the customary protest, but she is a lady.
Transparent. Transparent. Transparent means clear or easily seen through. For example, the glass window was transparent, giving a clear view of the garden outside. The company's financial statements were transparent, showing all the transactions clearly.
Transparent aluminum?
Water, it's transparent. Water, it's transparent.
You're so transparent. You're so transparent.
Scald. Scald. Scald means to burn with hot liquid or steam. For example, the coffee was so hot, it nearly scalded his tongue. He was scalded by steam escaping from the broken pipe.
You could scald yourself, schmuck.
Thank you. I'll scald myself if I try.
Boy, you got a good scald on that chicken.
Complacent. Complacent. Complacent means feeling too satisfied with yourself or your situation. For example, she was complacent about her grades and didn't study for the exam. He was complacent about his job and didn't try to get a promotion.
We are currently wealthy, fat, comfortable, and complacent. We are currently wealthy, fat, comfortable, and complacent. Complacent, indifferent, and insulated. Complacent, indifferent, and insulated.
Wasp. Wasp. A type of insect with a narrow waist and wings that can sting. For example, the wasp flew around the picnic table looking for something sweet to eat. I got stung by a wasp when I was climbing the tree.
Just wanted to put a little wasp in your head. She was stung on the tongue by a wasp. She was stung on the tongue by a wasp.
I christen thee the flying wasp. I christen thee the flying wasp.
Rehabilitate. Rehabilitate. To help someone recover from an illness, injury, or addiction. For example, the hospital has a program to rehabilitate patients who have had a stroke. A lot of the old houses have now been rehabilitated.
It's to help you rehabilitate and cope. It's to help you rehabilitate and cope.
While we try to rehabilitate them. While we try to rehabilitate them.
Parole. Parole. Parole means to release a prisoner on the condition that they promise to behave well. For example, after serving 10 years in prison, he was granted parole and allowed to go home. He was released on parole after serving 2 years.
With your parole officer's approval, of course. With your parole officer's approval, of course.
Pat goes. He's on parole, thank God. Pat goes. He's on parole, thank God.
Vertical. Vertical. Vertical means straight up and down or at a right angle to the ground or horizon. For example, it wasn't easy to get the drunken man into a vertical position. In the cities, buildings and skyscrapers are made vertically.
Lost vertical control. We have lost vertical control.
It pulls the stern vertical and then finally detaches. It pulls the stern vertical and then finally detaches.
I mean, Paul Cole isn't a vertical kisser.
Multitude. Multitude. Multitude means a large number of people or things. For example, there was a multitude of options to choose from on the menu. A multitude of people gathered at the concert.
What a multitude of crops. What a multitude of crops.
Henry Ford himself called it a car for the great multitude. Henry Ford himself called it a car for the great multitude.
Nominate. Nominate. To suggest or choose someone for a position or award. For example, the committee will nominate 3 candidates for the job. My father was nominated for Employee of the Year.
I will nominate some scapegoats. I will nominate some scapegoats.
After careful consideration, we have decided to nominate the Honorable Chan Chin-wei as the new Prime Minister of Manchukuo.
Potential. Potential. Having the ability to become something or achieve something in the future. For example, the young athlete showed great potential on the basketball court. The startup has potential to become a successful business.
But it's got potential.
It's got potential. It's view. It's got potential. It's view.
Morgue. Morgue. A place where dead bodies are kept temporarily before they are buried. For example, the coroner took the body to the morgue for further examination. The parent went to the morgue to identify the body of their son.
Wambosi went to the morgue.
We are going to the morgue. We are going to the morgue.
The woman lying dead in the morgue.
Preoccupied. Preoccupied. Thinking about something a lot, such a way that you don't pay attention to other things. For example, she was so preoccupied with her work that she didn't hear her phone alarm. He was preoccupied with his thoughts and didn't notice the time passing by.
I'm preoccupied. I'm preoccupied.
We've been so preoccupied, I'm almost ashamed to ask. We've been so preoccupied, I'm almost ashamed to ask.
Look, I am so sorry if I seem like I'm preoccupied with my relationship.
Upholstery. Upholstery. The process of covering chairs with material. For example, the upholstery on the couch was worn and needed to be replaced. The new upholstery on the chair made it look brand new.
Look at that upholstery here. Look at that upholstery here. That's the original upholstery.
Hey, watch that upholstery. It's my father's car. Hey, watch that upholstery. It's my father's car.
Indifference. Indifference. A lack of interest or concern about something. For example, His indifference to the news of the accident surprised his friends. She showed indifference towards Jack's proposal and didn't give him an answer.
Pitiless indifference. Pitiless indifference.
And almost as cruel as your indifference. And almost as cruel as your indifference.
Maintain. Maintain. Maintain means to keep something in a particular state or condition. For example, Jenny maintains her car by regularly checking the oil and changing the tires. The gardener maintains the garden by watering the plants and removing weeds.
Maintain your fields of fire. Maintain your fields of fire.
A good respiration system will maintain life for a while. A good respiration system will maintain life for a while.
Snob. Snob. To ignore or reject someone in a disrespectful manner. For example, Sarah felt hurt when her classmates snubbed her by not inviting her to the party. The celebrity snubbed the reporter by refusing to answer any of his questions.
But what good are snub fighters going to be against that? But what good are snub fighters going to be against that?
Endure. Endure. To be in a difficult or painful situation for a long time. For example, she can't endure being apart from me. Jack endured the boring lecture by doodling in his notebook.
I do not believe this darkness will endure. I do not believe this darkness will endure.
You won't be around to endure my maniacal reign. You won't be around to endure my maniacal reign.
Wrath. Wrath. Wrath means very great anger or rage. For example, there is no anger like the wrath of an angry bear. Some people saw the floods as a sign of divine wrath. Expose. Expose. Expose means uncover or to make something visible or known, especially something that was previously hidden or secret. For example, the report exposes the weaknesses of modern medical practice. I'm afraid I might expose my real feelings for her.
I'm going to expose you. I'm going to expose you.
I'm sorry to expose you like this. I'm sorry to expose you like this.
Legend. Legend. A traditional story or narrative that explains the origins or customs of a culture or society. For example, the legend of King Arthur tells the story of a mythical king in England. You will have heard the old legend about how the rocks were formed.
A legend all over Hong Kong.
That's kind of a legend.
This legend grows.
It's an urban legend.
Yeah.
Ponder. Ponder. To think about something carefully or deeply. For example, Sarah sat by the window, pondering her future career choices. After reading the book, John spent hours pondering the meaning of life.
Ponder that now. Ponder that now.
He doesn't know what to do with me. Ponder this.
Kick back and relax and ponder this. Kick back and relax and ponder this.
Resign. Resign. To voluntarily leave a job or position. For example, after many years of working at the company, Mark decided to resign and pursue his own business. My father resigned from the government last week.
How selfish to resign time like this.
If you resign, you can keep your tapes as a private citizen.
Drastic. Drastic. Severe or extreme inaction. For example, the company had to take drastic measures to reduce costs, including laying off many employees. In order to lose weight, Mike made a drastic change to his diet and he started exercising every day.
Nothing too drastic. Nothing too drastic.
Prefer drastic measures to rational ones. Prefer drastic measures to rational ones.
Wharf. Wharf. A structure built alongside the water where ships berth for loading and unloading goods. The fishermen docked their boats at the wharf and began unloading their catch. The cargo ship arrived at the wharf to deliver its containers.
But I moved it here from the wharf. But I moved it here from the wharf.
The best place to find broken dreams is down on the wharf. The best place to find broken dreams is down on the wharf.
Amend. Amend. To make changes to a document, law, or agreement. For example, the lawyer advised his client to amend the contract before signing it. The government amended the tax laws to provide relief to low-income families.
If you've nothing to add or amend, sign it. If you've nothing to add or amend, sign it.
We'll have to amend our reports.
But then I thought I might amend it. But then I thought I might amend it.
Ballot. Ballot. Ballot is a system of voting, usually in secret. For example, the party leader is elected by secret ballot. Workers at the plant held a ballot and rejected strike actions.
On the ballot. On the ballot.
How many signatures does he need to get on the ballot? How many signatures does he need to get on the ballot?